The first door to the airlock closed. The second door opened. Simo walked in. He yelled out, "Gate boss!" And before that door could close, 3 people came in. That door, the airlock closed. And next thing you know, stab, 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 stab. All 3 of them are stabbing the shit out of Simo in the airlock. Do not snitch on people and go to Port Phillip Prison.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today, I've been getting asked so much, why was Port Phillip Prison, or why is Port Phillip Prison the most dangerous, scariest prison in Victoria? But before we get into it, as always, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. I do have paid memberships available, guys, also. And we also have a Discord, guys, where we all jump in there and have a chat after our premieres and lives, and we talk about, what's going on. You can get updates and whatever. But I am the Chaos Chronicles, and we talk about everything crime, prison in Australia and around the world. But all right, let's get into it. Why is Port Phillip the most scariest, dangerous prison in Victoria? All right, so I guess we've got to take it back a little bit and just explain how and why Port Phillip was. So Port Phillip was opened around the same time when Pentridge Prison closed. And so Barwon Prison had been open for a little while. And obviously they were needing like maximum security prisons more. So anyway, Port Phillip at its time was actually pretty state-of-the-art prison, they would allege. And I can tell you that it's absolutely not. But this is the reason, because of how state-of-the-art it's not, why it is such a dangerous prison. And so you've really got to understand that, this is a private prison, and the private prison sector do not have to obey by the same rules as the government prison. And if they do, they definitely don't, because they don't have government people in there running it. So Port Phillip Prison is run by G4S. So G4S is a UK-based private prison firm that run prisons all around the world. And that's the truth. But Port Phillip Prison, although it might have been state-of-the-art at the time, it's not state-of-the-art now. And I've mentioned this in a lot of videos before. So, there was no cameras at Port Phillip Prison in the units. There was one camera in every single yard, and that was it. There was no cameras in the units, which means it was absolutely the fucking wild, wild west. And you hear people say that all the time. And that's definitely what it was like. And so, don't get me wrong. Barwon is a hectic fucking prison. There's no two ways about it. And, it's generally where all the POWs go. And, this is the exact reason generally why the POWs will not get sent to Port Phillip Prison generally, because, they can't handle that kind of prisoner, and it's just not that state of the art. So don't get me wrong, the POWs run Barwon with an iron fist. And when I say iron fist, I mean a fist and some iron. And let me get it straight right now for all of yous right now that, kind of romanticize this stuff. Every single person who's repping that brand, POW, is 100% willing and able to take you out. And when I say willing, like, I can't even stress enough how dangerous each and every single one of these people are. And so I might reiterate too that a lot of people think, I think because of movies and because of the Aryan Brotherhood or what, that the POWs is strictly a white prison gang. Now, I can't speak for what's going on right now, but when I was in prison last, 2021, it was a mixed bag of nuts there. And when I say a mixed bag of nuts, it was a mixed bag of nutcases. And there was some from every single race you could think of. There was Lebos, there was Africans, and of course there was Aussies, and so one thing I can also say is I've never seen an Islander POW, and you probably will never see an Islander POW because they are constantly at war. And so yeah, let's not get it twisted. Bowen is a dangerous prison, and is run a lot different because it's a government prison. And don't get me wrong, people cop shank sandwiches all the time, and Bowen's the type of prison where you do not even get to put your bags down before you're copping shank sandwiches from 6 or 7 different people. As I've said before, they know exactly who you are and when you're coming. And the matter of the fact is, they actually know that you're coming to that prison before you do. And why is that? It's because induction billets, people that induct new prisoners, which are prisoners themselves, get a list the night before so they can prepare so many bed packs, so many wet packs, so many things for these new prisoners for the next day. But anyway, long story short, we know when people are coming before they come there. And so, yeah, it's a well known fact that people at Barwon get taken out before they even get to put their bags down. And it's not just the POWs that are dangerous at Barwon. GFAM are there too. And so, you know, I get asked all the time, what does GFAM stand for? It stands for Gangsters from Around Melbourne. And I did say in another video it meant something else, but they've got it out there what it means anyway, so it's no point trying to keep it a secret. Yeah, but let's not get it twisted. Every single one of them boys too is absolutely willing and able to take you out and do and will, and let's not get it twisted. And so, I've seen these Islander boys like attack some of the main names, and you know, sometimes it ended bad for them, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're willing and able. So let's not get it twisted. Barwon is a fucking dangerous prison, but when it comes to dangerous, there's just no comparison to Port Phillip Prison, and especially pre 2018, like I said, when there was no cameras. Like I said at the start, right? So old Simo. So at Port Phillip and most prisons, they have airlocks, right? So in order to get through one door, the door behind you's got to close before the door in front of you can open, and they call it an airlock, right? And so that is the kind of place where you do not want to get stuck with a few people that you don't want to get stuck with that are all carrying shank sandwiches ready for lunch. And so on this particular day, exactly what I said at the start, Simo yelled out and he said, "Gate boss." Boss opened the gate. Simo went through and yelled out, "Gate," as if to say, "Lock the gate because I'm sweet." And then bang, next thing you know, 3 blokes came in, each one of them wielding a shank. And each one of them blokes absolutely 100% willing to do what they were doing. Now, don't get me wrong, Simo was absolutely willing to do this shit as well. But the truth was, Simo had snitched on these people. And although I'm using a different nickname, I'm calling him Simo. So if you know, you know. So on this day, each one of those blokes was like, "You're not going to snitch on us and think that you're going to kick it around us and pretend to be our friends when you've put each and every one of us in prison for, over 10 years. And so this bloke got filleted. And when I say filleted, like this bloke got absolutely 100% airlifted. See you later, like Nelly brown bread. Like that was nearly game over for Simo, right? And this is what it's like at Port Phillip. So I can tell you myself. So I remember one day one of my friends got to Port Phillip. I was in Scarborough South. If you know, you know. If you're naughty in prison and you do bad shit, you usually go. If you're at Port Phillip, you go to Scarborough South or Scarborough North, and that's how it was for so long. Long story short, I was in Scarborough South. My mate was in the back units. He was in Waxenby. Anyway, I thought it was him playing basketball, and it was him playing basketball. And so I called out to him, and I told him to meet me down the spine, we call it. And yes, we call the slot the spine as well. But I told my friend to meet me down there. And anyway, at this time, I had a shank that was as thick as my little finger and had a metal 50-cent shape alloy handle on it. And the bar of this was screwed into that handle. Now, God knows what this thing was in its original time, but this thing would have been just as good as a banging weapon than it was as a whooshka weapon. And so I had this thing down my pants and I knew exactly how to stash these things. So if you get searched, you should be sweet. And so, anyway, sure enough, security intercepted me on my meeting with my mate, put me up against the wall, searched me. This thing was, I'm telling you, more than 30 centimeters long, and the handle of it was that thick. And obviously, I had that down my dax, and I got through the brakes on that. And this is how slack they are there. And other prisons as well. You can't walk through the prison without going through a metal detector. They don't have metal detectors at Port Phillip Prison. That would just be way too much money for the private prison sector to, but like it is fucking dangerous and people have died there. And the thing is, right, so when people died there, so when a certain person died in Scarb South and Scarb North, you know, the thing is, they're never, ever, ever going to get to the bottom of it. So this person was literally the person that died there, come walking out of the cell, literally looking like a sieve and, had claret pissing out of him everywhere and, had his hand up in the air saying, boss, boss, boss. And then bang, next thing you know, he hits the top tier deck and that was it. He's fucking brown bread. And the thing is, if you guys haven't seen it, there's a video on YouTube called Fubard, and that is absolutely brutal. And the truth is, not like I said, POWs usually do not go to Port Phillip Prison, but this is Port Phillip Prison, and you see what the POWs are absolutely capable of, and you see why it's so dangerous. So what happens in that video is two people from the gang set upon another person, and both of these people have got shanks and box cutters in their hands. And you can see it on this video. Like, they are absolutely 100% like really like wrecking this guy. And this guy ended up having a slash across his back like that was that thick. Like, these guys were going hard. And this other guy stuck staunch and didn't hit the deck. But what I'm saying is, you can see on the camera that every single screw in that unit is just standing there watching and waiting for it to finish. So, it's dangerous because no one's fucking coming to save you. And these people are fucking savages. And you've got to understand, a lot of them are there for years and years and years, and this is their house. And if you come into their house and disrespect them, you guarantee that you are going to get filleted, right? And so, the thing about Port Phillip as well is there's more than one gang. You know what I mean? There's TFW, there's RM, there's what's the other one? Oh, anyway, MTS, MTS, RM, and them boys were like serious, serious crews in prison. And each one of them crews in prison too, 100% willing and able. And you guys might know them names that I just, you know, um, TFW and, RM and, MTS, them boys 100% at Port Phillip. And although they're mad graphers on the outside too, like these boys 100% would and will take you out. And there's a couple of them boys that are actually doing a murder sentence right now for taking somebody out at Port Phillip, right? And that person is never going home. Like, he's spending the rest of he died at Port Phillip, you know what I mean? And the worst thing is, the people that did that as well, they're going to be spending the rest of their life in prison as well. And once again, a person was set upon with blades, and the screws just let it happen, and these people pass away, and it's absolutely brutal. And you people need to know that this is why it is fucking dangerous. And like I said, I would get searched by security all the time, and I would always have a shank on me. And why would I always have a shank on me? Because every other dude in that fucking prison has got a shank on them. And so, it is absolutely dangerous. And the corruption there, let me tell you about corruption. I will just say, all you have to do is read the papers, and the highest of the highest up have been done for corruption at Port Phillip Prison. I'll just say, in a certain unit at a certain time, I'm talking about getting quarter of pounds of methamphetamine dropped off to a yard by screws. And that's 100% fact. I'm not going to say what yard and obviously not what screws because I don't want to bring any of the boys undone. But like, this is what we've had going, and this is what you've got to understand. It's its whole little own world, Port Phillip Prison. And, it's still open right now and it's nearly shut down. By the end of this year, it will 100% be shut down. But that's why it's brutal as well. Like the screws there, I would say it's more than 50% are corrupt. And I can't even count on my fingers and toes how many times in the middle of the night I have heard blokes get their doors cracked by the screws and then get run in on by 5 or 6 other blokes that have been let out their cells by the corrupt screws. Like this is the corruption that's going on there. And like when I say corruption, so there was a very big name. I won't say his name, but he was a very, very, very big name. And he was I'll say he was a Muslim, and he was very soon to be getting out, and had just served an 8 years prison sentence, and was well known for absolutely going to war with these screws, right? And so this guy was in the slot at Port Phillip. Now, while he was in the slot at Port Phillip, he's causing shit for the slot workers, which is very common. We do that, you know what I mean? They're putting us in the slot. You've got no TV. You've got nothing except for a pillow and a mattress. That's it. And so, anyway, whatever happened, they found this guy hanging in his cell the next morning, right? And so, when the coroner's report came in, on this coroner's report, they found that this guy was actually drowned, and then after the fact, post mortem, has been hung up in his cell by people, and the only people that could have done this was the screws. And every one of those screws that was on duty that night did get charged. But what do you think happened? Every single one of those screws was not charged. The charges were dropped, and then they literally straight back to work. So there's all these prison guards there that are there right now that damn well have got priors for putting people in the ground. It's a fucking dangerous, dangerous place. And like, people get to Port Phillip Prison and think because they've done Barwon or they've done Loddon or they've done, Margate or they've done some fucking crazy, B rating prison, their eyes are opened when they get to Port Phillip Prison. Let me tell you that right now. And those are just a few examples of why that place is the fucking Wild West. And yeah, that is absolutely why it got closed. And the gangs there are out of control. And the truth is about Port Phillip Prison, the crooks run the prison, and that's the truth. And so that is why it's dangerous. You are not safe. If you think you are safe sitting in your cell in the middle of the night, if you're going to war with a big crew, think again, because I guarantee you, you've got to be on your toes. This is the wild, wild west, and 100%. This is why all the private prisons got shut down in Queensland, and it definitely needs to happen in Victoria, and this is why. And yeah, well, there you go, guys. Port Phillip Prison, it is absolutely, as Goulburn in New South Wales is the killing fields, that is what Port Phillip is in Victoria, 100%. And it definitely has got the biggest death rate out of any prison in Victoria. And yeah, it was just a brutal, brutal, crazy prison. And yeah, well, there you go, guys. Port Phillip Prison. I hope I've done it a bit of justice. And that's why. You all ask why, and that is why. It is just a crazy, crazy place that is run by the crooks. The screws are corrupt. Every crook's got a shank in his hand. And yeah, it's a brutal, brutal place. But there you go, guys. All right, well, I've been Chaos Chronicles, guys. If you guys are liking my content, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that little bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And yeah, guys, if you want to continue chats, we're always in the Discord having a chat. There's always people in there, the Chaos crew from the community. What we all have when we have our premieres, we usually have a few hundred people. Well, those people are now all over on the Discord, talking in the Discord, and yeah, we're building an awesome community. And I just want to say thank you so much. We've just hit 2 massive milestones. I just uploaded my 500th video. We've just hit 33,000 subs and going up quickly. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with my page, and it's all due to you guys. Thank you so much for being such a solid audience. And yeah, like I said, I'll continue to work harder and harder for you guys, because you guys are there for me. Every video I drop, every premiere, it's absolutely legendary. And just know I love you guys. And yeah, well, there you go, guys. I'm the Chaos Chronicles. Don't do drugs and crime, and you won't end up at Port Phillip with corrupt screws and getting shank sandwiched by 3 people while the screws sit there and watch.
The Chaos Chronicles, where the darkness thrives. True tales of